Hello everyone, Mr. Kutrarki here again. Welcome to my introduction to BigIdeasMath.com, which is our online textbook. You're going to be spending a lot of time between Google Classroom and BigIdeasMath.com this year. So let me show you what it's going to look like. So here's BigIdeasMath.com. I have a login here, but you're going to click on New to BigIdeasMath.com. You want to use your Westford K-12 email account, and you want to set up a password, and then you're going to want to log in. Do not log in with either any of these. So you want to create a Big Ideas Math account unless you have one from middle school. If you do and you remember it, great. But if you don't, it's pretty easy if you click on New to BigIdeasMath.com to set up a new account. So I'm going to log in, and I'm going to show you what it is that it looks like. Alright, so you're going to see first resources, assignments, reports. I believe yours says results, maybe not reports. Mine says reports. Resources, this is where you're going to find your textbook. Okay, so if you click on the dynamic classroom, you will be able to choose which textbook you want to look at. Now mine automatically opens up to the geometry, and I believe yours will too. And you'll be able to click on what chapter you want to look at, what do you want to look at within the chapter. So section 1.1, there are some questions if you want to look at examples and things like that. So that's the dynamic textbook. What else do we have in here? I'll give it a second to load so you see what it looks like. It's a little slow. This would be an interactive one, and that's why it's taking a little bit longer to load. All right, that's already taken too long. So this is taking too long to load. So I'm just going to go back to the classroom. If you click on Student Dynamic Book right here, this is going to open up a digital version of our textbook. Geometry, this is what our textbook looks like. And you'll be able to choose where you want to go in the book. So when you're filling out our skeleton notes, which I'm going to have another video explaining what the skeleton notes look like, you're going to, let me go to the table of contents, we'll go chapter 1, section 1.1. When you're filling in the skeleton notes, our skeleton notes, which I have another video coming up for that, you're going to have yellow highlighted terms in the skeleton notes that you have to look up in the textbook the definitions for. And you want to write those into the skeleton notes, fill those into the skeleton notes. You can get them by reading the sections. Boom. And of course you can make these bigger so that you can see them a little bit better. Smaller if you need to fit more onto the page. You can scroll through the pages by hitting the arrows. You can scroll to the page by typing in a number, page 237. I don't know what's on this page. We'll find out. It looks like some bookwork problems to do. Here's skeleton notes from his notes from our textbook, section 5.1. Angles of triangles. Another thing that you're going to want to go to from time to time is index. Postulates and theorems I'll show you in a second. So the index, this is where you can get definitions as well. So if you need to look up the definition for, sorry, not index, reference. This is what the reference looks like. You can see different formulas. that we will have throughout the book. And here are our postulates and theorems. You will be filling in postulates and theorems again in the skeleton notes. Almost every section has postulates and or theorems that you will have to be filling into the skeleton notes. And again, we're back into the index, which will tell you where you can find the definitions for the words that you're going to be filling in. Oh, this is what I was looking for. This is the English-Spanish glossary. That's what it was. So English-Spanish glossary is where you find your vocab words. And you can see if you need to define what an angle is, at some point you will. Here's where you get that definition for the angle. And you'll fill that into the skeleton notes. Whether you type that in or handwrite it in, that's up to you. There's another video coming about the skeleton notes and my expectations for filling those in. Okay, so that's the online textbook. But in assignments, right now we don't have any assignments, but I'm going to show you what one looks like. And I'm going to show you a bookwork assignment first. So let me set up an online bookwork assignment, and then I will also set up an online practice quiz, an online quiz, and an online test, and show you what those are going to look like. So let me pause the video here for a second. Okay, what I've done here is I've created a student account, a temporary student account under my name, just to show you what it's going to look like from your perspective. One thing that you need to know when you set up the student account, when you click on new to bigideasmath.com, the first question it's going to ask you is for the class code. And that class code is the one for bigideasmath.com. I will have that posted in Google Classroom. In fact, it's already posted in Google Classroom. So when you're going to want to copy and paste that with the dashes and everything into the new account. So the first thing that it asks you, and then it asks you first name, last name, your student ID number. You can use the one from Westwood Academy, which is the same one that you had in middle school. It's the same student ID number if you want. Once you are in, and it's going to let you, you're going to have to log in after you've created the account, then you have to log in. It's going to give you a user ID name that you're going to want to remember. And then you come here. These are the resources. It looks a little bit different, but it's still the same resources. Student dynamic book. Same things I was showing you before. And then I created a couple assignments. And you're not going to see these because these are new. I just created this for this demo. So I've created, this is a bookwork assignment. This is a quiz. Now, bigideasmath.com doesn't have practice quizzes at this time. I'm working on a way of doing practice quizzes in Google Classroom for you. This is a practice test. Big Ideas Math does have practice tests. They also have review tests, which are like practice tests as well. I will put those up as well. And then you have the actual test. So let's start off with bookwork, and I'll show you what it's going to look like here, what the interaction looks like, what the interactive piece is here. It takes a second for it to load. It always does. And it's not just the Wi-Fi. It's Big Ideas Math can sometimes be slow. So, question number 1, compare collinear points and coplanar points. Which statements are true about collinear points? Select all that apply. Which statements are true about coplanar points? Select all that apply. So this is kind of an open-ended question because you don't know how many apply for these. Could be 1, could be none, could be 3, could be all 4. We don't know. So which statements are true about collinear points? A plane exists that contains all the points. Sure. A line exists that contains all the points. Yep. More than one plane that exists containing all the points? No. More than one line contains these points? No. All right. Which statements are true about coplanar points? A plane exists that contains all the points? Yep. A line exists that contains all the points? Not necessarily. More than one plane exists that contains all the points? No. More than one line exists that contains all the points? No. So now, the best part about this website is going to happen right here. check answer. Now, if you get to a problem where you need a calculator, scientific or regular 4-function calculator, you can click on it and opens up this regular 4-function calculator here. Or you can click on the scientific one and it will give you a scientific calculator. If there's something that requires an angle symbol or something like that, usually when you click on the calculator, it will have another set of instructions, and you'll see, probably not in this unit, where that you can get to that math type of notation, and I'll show you that when we get to a problem like that. But the best feature in this book, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to take off something that I know is correct, and I click check answer, and it tells me everything in here is wrong. Is correct, sorry. Everything here is correct. This whole box is correct. Something here is incorrect, but it's not this. This is correct. Check. Now if I switch and I check the answer again, it's still telling me something's wrong, but this one's correct. Let me show you what it looks like if they're all incorrect. They're all incorrect. Oh, but this one should be checked. Let's try this. Oh, that one's wrong. So, check, check, check. And you got to figure out why. What was it that I was doing wrong? Oh, more than one plane exists that contains all of the points? Right, if they're collinear, 1, 2, 3, 4 points, they're all on the same line, then there are many planes that contain. There's a plane here that contains these 4 points. There's a plane here that contains these 4 points. There's a plane here, 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 here. There are multiple, infinite number of planes that contain those points. Oh, I should have realized that. Check the answer. It's all correct. Now you can move on to question number 2. Okay, this is an example of the type of notation that I was talking about, that sometimes you're going to have to type in, and when you get a box where you have to type something like that in, it will give you the notation features to be able to click. Now, let's say you did this problem already. You want to jump around. These are all the problems that are assigned for this bookwork. If you want to jump to question number 28, you can do that quickly. Or we can go back to question number 2. Which term does not belong with the other 3? We have a segment, a plane, a line, and a ray. Well, this is part of a line, this is a line, this is part of a line, this is a plane, that one doesn't belong. Explain your reasoning. The one that does not belong is an undefined term. No, that is an undefined term, but that's not why. The one that doesn't belong uses different kind of symbol. Yeah. The one that does not belong contains fewer points. And the one that does not belong has a different number of dimensions. That's the one that I like. I also like this one, the one that is not an undefined term. This is an undefined term. These are defined. This is undefined. Defined, undefined, undefined, defined. But that's not the reason. That was close. The one that doesn't belong has a different number of dimensions. Check the answer. Hey, we got it right. Nicely done. And then we move through. When you are done, and my picture-in-picture window is blocking it, I'm going to slide this over. When you are done, so 2 out of 28 are answered. You can click Save, Save and Exit, Submit. Now, you can save and exit. I would recommend saving as you go along. Save, okay? But every now and then you just run out of time. You're going to have to come back. You can save and exit, and you can go back. You can change answers. You can pick up where you left off. Once you've hit Submit, and you will have to hit Submit when you're done, once you've hit Submit, you won't be able to change the answers. Now, for bookwork, it doesn't matter that much. I'm not going to be grading your bookwork on right or wrong. I only am going to be grading your bookwork on completeness. I just want to know, did you put in the effort to get the problems answered? I'm not looking to see if they're right or wrong. I'm just looking to see, did you put in the effort? Now, I get a report. I get a report of right and wrongs, but I get a report on how much time you spent on it, where you had the most problems. I get a report from the whole class as well. If the whole class is having problems with problem number 28 that I showed you earlier, maybe 75% of the class got this question wrong. Well, if that's true, this is one that we're going to have to go over during class when we are face to face. Okay? Or if you're doing these during class, which a lot of time you're going to have time to be working on these in the classroom. So this is the book work, but since you did the skeleton notes the night before, you have time in class to be working on this book work with me, with your fellow classmates that are sitting around you, or your fellow classmates that happen to be online learning at the exact same time synchronously with us. Okay, so name a point that is collinear with points B and I. B and I are right here. C is collinear with point. So this is where I was saying we get different symbols that show up in when I click on this box. If I click instead of basic, keyboard, and when I get one that is geometry specific, it will have a segment symbol over here. It will have a ray symbol, a line symbol, things of that nature. But notice how it just popped right up the second I needed it. So put in C and let's check it. Hey, we got it right. But let's say we didn't put in C. We put in E. Oops. We put in E. We don't know why that's wrong. Oh, E, no, that's in the wrong place. That's not, all right, so now we try a different. Well, let's see if I do C, but it's lowercase, does it matter? Oh, C's the right point, but I did lowercase. Now, maybe you just don't realize why it's wrong. You know it's wrong, but you don't realize why it's wrong. B, I, and C, you're looking at them right here. Here's B, here's I, here's C. They're collinear, that is correct, but you didn't realize that you put it as a lowercase. Well, maybe somebody sitting near you realizes, oh, I made that same mistake. Did you make sure it was capital? Our points are named with capital letters. So we go back here, check the answer, yay. You say thank you very much to whichever student helped you. Now, I'm going to save and exit because I want to show you, I want to show you practice test. Now you'll have specific times when you'll be able, oh, not that one, this one, practice test. You'll have specific times when you'll be able to open this up. The practice test will be the exact same for everybody, but the actual test is not the same for everyone. That is different from person to person. The questions are randomized, the order of the questions are randomized, and the types of questions are the same, but the actual questions themselves are different. So here is a practice test. Give another name for segment RS. Well, another name for segment RS, and this will be an example where I need the segment symbol. I can't just put in SR. If I put in SR and I check that answer, it's going to mark it wrong. But what do I need here? I need this symbol right here, which looks like an angle symbol. When I click on it, I get these choices. Segment SR. And remember, we need capital S, capital R. I check that, now it checks as correct. Okay, so that's a practice test. It works just the same as it does the book work, where you can save, you can save and exit, you can submit when you're done. I'm going to save and exit. Yes, I'm sure, because I want to show you the test. Now these are all showing up still here in the upcoming ones because they're still due. Once you have submitted them, they won't show up here anymore. When you hit submit, they're not going to show up here. They will show up in your reports. So let's take a look. Let me submit this one. I'm going to resume the bookwork. when it's done loading. And then I will submit it. So even though this is not actually done for us, this is just an example, I'm going to hit submit. Am I sure? Yes. Okay. So it tells you we got 3 correct answers, 25 were incorrect because we left them blank. It gives me an overall score. Now, for bookwork, the overall score is not what I care about. What we care about is just that you put in the effort to do the best that you could. Now notice that section 1.1 bookwork is no longer on my list of assignments because you submitted it. It will be under the reports. So if you click on reports, now you can see and you can review. You'll get a report, you can review, and it will give you which ones were right and wrong and why they were right, what the actual answer was. As it slowly comes up here, just a little bit slow to come up. This is not going to look exactly the same way as it did when you were looking at it before, because this is just a scroll through until you get, now these are questions we didn't answer. It's showing us what the right answer should be. Okay? And it's showing us, I got these answers correct. I got this one correct. But then I didn't even answer this, so it doesn't have check marks to show that we got it correct, but it is showing us which answers are correct. Okay, so that is the results page or reports page. Come back here to the assignments. We want to take a look at the test. Now the test is going to be exactly the same look, same format, same interaction as the bookwork and the practice test. It's just going to be randomized for every student. It's not going to be exactly the same for each student. That way it's going to prevent you from being able to copy off of each other and work together and cheat. There's plenty of times where I want you to work together. This is not one of them. So this is the actual test where you're going to have to give another name for segment BC, so on and so forth, answer all these questions. Now notice what's different this time is we do not have a check answer button because this is a test. And this happens on the quizzes too. You can't check your answer because it's a quiz or a test. It's an assessment. I'm checking to see if you can get these right or wrong. All right. Whereas in the bookwork and the practice tests, I don't care if you're getting them right or wrong. I'm hoping that you are getting them right, but I want you to be working towards getting them right and working hard on figuring out the material. When we get to the quizzes and the tests, that's when we're checking to see, did you actually learn the material and can you get it right or wrong? Okay, so again, it's the same interaction. When I click on here, I need the segment symbol. So I come here, segment, and another name for segment BC is segment CB. Oh, but I can't check it. Best I can do is I can move on to the next part of question 1, and then I can move on to question 2. Now I can go back. I can go back to question 1 if I need to. If I've suddenly figured something out and remember, I can go back to it. But what I can't do is I cannot check my answers on any of these questions. Okay, so save and exit. Am I sure? Yes. Then you can close. You can go back to it at any point. If you want, you can go back and finish it off. See, it says resume. We can continue working on those. So this is our online textbook, this BigIdeasMath.com. It's a wonderful resource. It's a big time saver because now you don't have to go looking up answers in the back of a book when you're doing problems, homework problems on a piece of paper or regular bookwork problems on a piece of paper. You get instantaneous answers, instantaneous feedback. You have an idea of what you're doing, right or wrong. Hopefully it's correct. If you are getting ones that are incorrect, you're typically doing these in the classroom with me. Ask the students around you, and we'll get those things cleared up before you get to a quiz or a test when you have to do them on your own and you don't have that check answer button. So hopefully this is a good introduction for BigIdeasMath.com, and hopefully this answers any questions that you have before you even have them. Thank you very much. Bye.